Hey guys, how y'all doing? I'm here to give you guys a recap on the new chapter in Nanatsu no Taizai, or you could call it the 7 Deadly Sins, which is on chapter 216. Now, this chapter right here was pretty cool, not too bad, and now the ending, along with like certain information revealed in here, is about to go crazy now. I really look forward to see how things are gonna get going, you know? So if anything else, let's just get this started. We have to it that King himself actually wakes up with Oslo trying to lick him awake, and he was explaining to Oslo that he actually had a dream kissing Diane or something, but Diane reminds him that it wasn't a dream. Even like King is like, it's like something like really really happy about this, and he passed out when he got kissed, you know. Although King like asked her like why'd you kiss me or something, you know, in a certain way. Although like Diane says like it was things from the promise you kept 200 years ago, you know. And when King says like what promise from 200 years ago, and that he remembers that like no matter what happens I'll come back to you, I promise, you know. That was the promise he made. Then King realizes, you mean the memories you lost? He ends up, and Diane explains that she got her memories back from Gotha himself as present time and returned her memories to her. And I think in my mind, are you for real, dude? So you're saying like even when she went back into the past, Gotha actually returned the memories back to Diane? That was pretty crazy. And when it comes like to this, we have to it that Diane explains that the two Gothers aren't bad people as you think they are, you know? And there's something that she wants to discuss with King later if it's alright. And therefore we see Oslo playing with King's weapon, you know, in a certain way. And we also have to it that Diane feels terrible for him because all those precious memories are deeply engraved into your heart. You forget them temporarily, but eventually they'll come through and they never disappear. And I'm thinking in my mind, that's pretty cool. And we have to it that Diane confessed her love to King and says like, I loved you for a long time, and how do you feel about me now? And therefore King responds with the kiss on the lip, and that just says that he actually shows that he actually loves her, you know. And as for King, he's actually growing his wings, surprisingly. Although they're very small for the time being, they'll grow bigger, which I really look forward to. You know, like for the time being, Diane tells King that Gluckshinia started his wings out like that at first, you know. And therefore, I look forward to see how this goes from here on out, you know. And then we get to see that Diane shows King where Gluckshinia is at right now, especially when he's like Gluckshinia's talking to his sister and says just let me apologize. You don't have to forgive me. I was too scared to find out if you were dead or not to even check. And although like Harade talks to her brother Gluckshinia that he's now a Ten Commandment or a demon right now, she explains that that's all in the past right now. We all knew what was bound to happen, and she cried just to see her brother again. And then we get to see a scene where Oslo literally transforms into a humongous beast, and Harade tells freaking like Oslo, calm down. He's not an enemy right now. Although like Gluckshinia says it's okay because like how he is perceived as an enemy. And we also have to it that Harade explains Oslo's origins to Gluckshinia, where he was born after he disappeared, and he protected her in Gluckshinia's place. Not that he was, and aside from that, like he was also protecting Harlequin at the same time, which is King. We have to it that Gluckshinia realizes that Oslo is actually Ro, you know? And I'm actually surprised about this because we see a backstory of Gluckshinia realizing that he heard the voice of someone's heart, and it says like, when I'm reborn again, I'll protect you no matter what. I'll protect all the things you hold precious and dear for you, no matter what form I happen to come back as. And therefore, that just confirms that I think Oslo is actually Ro himself, as he promises to come back and protect everything he loves, you know? And therefore, Gluckshinia calls Oslo a faithful one, and Oslo like literally bit him in the face right now, which is really hilarious. And therefore, we have to it that Diane convinces King to go back to the kingdom together. Though I don't know if the translation is really correct on this one, although I'm not really sure, but it looks like Elaine is still alive. as Diane says, you know. Guess we'll have to find out maybe in the future chapters. Aside from that, Gluckshinia tells King to go on ahead and meet up with the 7 deadly sins, you know, because he will protect the forest as his representative, and I really look forward to that. And therefore, King and Diane goes off while he says his goodbyes to Oslo, and of course, King on the other hand wants to save Gother, you know, because I'm pretty sure now after Diane told him everything, it seems like to me he knows what's up. Aside from that, we get to see we see the remaining five deadly sins at one location, which is like the place where I think the king was murdered, at the captain of the Holy Knights was murdered, you know. Although someone and then Bond questions, why are we all here right now, you know? And therefore Merlin says we saw an omen here and there that in broad daylight the moon shines, how when the low hanging mist of the royal capital, etc. Excuse me. At the peak of the castle where a destiny was set in motion by treason against the kingdom, you know, and the moon, like there, will have a haze of heat. And the 7 deadly sins will reunite once more. And it shows that Diane and King shows excuse me. That Diane and King shows up and the 7 deadly sins are united. And the next chapter is called the Heart's Finding Place. So it looks like to me King and Diane's training is done. That was pretty interesting. And surprisingly enough, Elaine is still alive, to my shock. Not to mention, I think Oslo is actually like Ro himself, as I mentioned that Gluckshinia says that he remembers he heard a voice from possibly Ro himself before he killed him, that he'll come back and protect the one protect everything he loves, you know, the one that's precious, etc. So overall, it was a pretty cool chapter. I mean, like, Diane and King finally confessed their love for each other, kissed each other once more, and yeah, it was pretty interesting. I actually really enjoyed it. Not to mention, seeing the 7 deadly sins finally reuniting, it's gonna get very, very cool for him from here on out. So overall, pretty cool chapter. Looking forward to the next one. Although I don't know there will be a next one, because apparently there were many other chapters that was not aired this week, especially when it comes to One Piece and many others. So I don't know if this one might be aired next week. So if anything else, guess we'll have to find out. Until then, I'm out for Zero, people. Have a good day, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, peace out. Bye bye. Toodaloo.